All right, starting the Facebook Live. Let me know who's here. Okay, good. We got one like. I can start. Thanks, Steven. It's my first Facebook Live, so I need to see what's going on, see you guys commenting and liking, so I know people are coming in. Okay, good. Here's the eyeball, so I can see people are watching. Hilawe, Steven, Yevgeny, number 2 or number 1. Hey. All right, well, this is going to be recorded, so I think it's going to save afterwards, so maybe I'll just wait for another minute and then start. How are you guys doing? Steven, I got your recent message. I'll need to read it carefully, so I'll check that after the call. All right, well, I'm going to get started, and then if there's not a lot of people, there may not be as many questions, so it'll be shorter, but then for the video, I think people can ask questions. I can do some follow-ups after that. Thanks. Yeah, and I thought I created this group. Actually, one other reason is that there is weekly, sometimes more often, that I learn something, whether it's Facebook ads or website optimization, something marketing related. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I just found out about this. And I want to share it with somebody. So I feel like posting something like that in the group will be pretty cool. Just little updates that I can get out of my mind and see how other people feel about different updates. Is it something that's pretty old, I'm behind on certain things, or kind of different feedback, or seeing if other people are trying different strategies. So after, aside from this call, I think I'll just kind of post different things occasionally in this group. All right, I'm gonna try to do a relatively short version, everything in 20 minutes, where it's gonna be an outline, things I've talked about before. So if you've seen one of the calls, either in the Tribe call, the Zipify Smart Marketer group call, or maybe at EcomCon. So I think those are the main areas where I presented the Facebook ad strategies. But that was over the past several months. In September is when we figured out the Facebook ads. And then in approximately the last month or so, I've got some new data, new strategies, updating that in different ways. And also we went through Q4 and the holiday season, so all of those emails that we were generating, we were leveraging them for holidays, and it really worked out. So I was worried about what's going to be the quality of the emails that we're getting, but they worked out really well. So it was with the timing of Cyber Monday, Black Friday, and in December. But then there's some strategies that I learned of basically being able to scale up further. And when I tested those in January, after the holiday season, the last week of December, just everything went down on Amazon and on our Shopify website. But then with some of these new strategies, I was able to scale the budget and basically replicate the holiday season. So that's when I was oh my gosh, this is working. And it's learning different strategies from, if you guys are in Facebook ad buyers group, that one's really good with Tim Bird. So there's some really golden nuggets in there, always something really cool in there, advanced level strategies. All right, and I posted an attachment in the group, so it's just an outline of the things that I'm going to talk about. So there's not going to be any PowerPoint presentation. You're just going to see my face, but I'm going to go over the outline that I have in there. Let me see, maybe it seems a little bit Does it seem like it's a bit dark? Let me see. I think this is a bit better. Okay. Battery. And ask questions along the way. I'll try to get to them right away. If I know I'm going to talk about it later, then I'll kind of skip over the questions, and if anything, I'll answer in the group, or if there's comments after the call as well. So on this document that I attached, the outline is basically one of the important things is the order of how you're running Facebook ads and the framework. And the framework is this idea of testing quite a bit and duplicating quite a bit. I learned that you have to like always duplicate different things of what's working, and there's different strategies of optimizing that way. So in the 20 minutes, the first half is going to be like very basic on the strategies of testing and optimizing and finding winners in terms of things that are driving down the cost of your ads. And then the later steps are going to be about what to do next with those winners, how to get actual purchases from those ads. And then like this later part is going to be more advanced stuff, only things that I've been doing in the last several weeks. And it has to do with how you're using the budget and how you're kind of going through the different advanced settings in Facebook to be able to scale up further. So number one on this document that I attached, the first part is that I think of Facebook ads as like this big algorithm. There's just a whole bunch of data, and that's what Facebook wants. It wants information. When you're spending dollars there, you're sending not only of who's taking actions, who's clicking, then who's purchasing, but also who's not purchasing. So Facebook is determining right away of how to optimize the ad and what your account looks like, what your website, how people are behaving on your website. So there's like all of this data that's coming in. And this data, it's determining on how you're comparing to other advertisers. So there's like this ad inventory of other people competing for the same audience. So this is where the cost per click and the click-through rate becomes really important. There's like these different ideas where if some people are talking about like clickbait, and you don't want to make things that are it's like very clickbaity. And there's like that topic, which there's some stuff that could be really clickbaity. You wouldn't want to go that far. But then like there's this other extreme where it's like really high quality branding of like exactly what your product or your service is, but like nobody's gonna click on it. It's just like there's like something wrong with that funnel or the messaging or the targeting. So in between is this aspect of where you want to drive down your cost per click and increase your click-through rate. So that's where you have to really think about how people are seeing your ad and just like their psychology, like the mood that they're in, what are they doing on Facebook, and different types of people that are seeing your ad. And different types of people, I mean like different buying profiles or different psychologies, where somebody wants something very visual, somebody wants something very analytical, mathematical, some numbers behind it, somebody wants something that's like more emotional. So you have to like reach different types of people so they actually engage with the ad or the content that's in the ad. So that way you're basically affecting the cost per click and the click-through rate, or those metrics are the ones where you're giving yourself a chance for later on when you actually need to worry about purchases later on. Because a lot of times people are starting running ads like, all right, I want to run some ads and see if I can get purchases from them. But like the order is way wrong. You're thinking about purchases way too early. First, you need to find ads that are actually people are clicking and they're engaging with. So you're kind of getting above the competition and other ads and ad inventory that's out there. So that's like this Facebook algorithm. I always think about it as data. Then the second component is testing and optimizing. And let me do like a very quick overview of like the A, B, C, and D, the four they're like steps or different factors. And these are different steps where I presented before. I'm talking about different steps, like so that's different steps here. And then in more detail about when you need to worry about certain aspects. Let me do a quick check in the chat. We're getting couple more people. Let me make sure you guys can hear this. Just give me a like or a comment or something, or a thumbs up, or even a like or love or an unhappy face, anything. Okay, good. For a split second, I'm like, all right, I'm just talking to myself again. Thanks, Jeremy. All right, so for the testing and optimizing, this first part is the most important one. Like if you're starting out, like this is what I would do, and it's a lot of testing. Like you hear this, but this is where I've discovered where like we were going from just like, you know, several dollars to like $5, $10, like $50, like $100. Like, oh my gosh, you're spending $100 per day. Like from that area, when we finally made more variations and testing more images, headlines, and body, like the copy and the text there, and not just the headline, that's when everything started taking off and like all of these other factors started making sense. So like this is the part where in the past several months when I had other people message me or asking just like kind of input, or after I did some of the presentations, like this is the part that has made the biggest difference for everyone, is that compared to what was happening before, and that's getting more clicks and driving down the cost, or like one of those two or both of those factors, and then you move on to these other levels, and then it becomes more complex, and then a lot of other factors come into play, like your product and like the audience and what's happening on your website and like when you're doing things. But for any of that to matter, you have to build this foundation, and that's having different ads that people are going to engage with. And there's different components of that. There's like a bunch of guides out there where you can see how to make a good ad, and that's what you really want to focus on. And usually it's like image is the number one, because that's what stops people, like kind of whether from scrolling or that catches the attention first. So any type of testing, like images would be number one. Number two, or if you're doing a video, like the thumbnail or like the first couple of seconds of the video. So everything that I'm talking about images is applying to videos as well. Like right now we're doing videos as well, and it's working even better than images. But like you have to start off with images, because you'll be able to do your experiments better of how you're interpreting data. Because video, it's like 1,000 words in an image, but millions of words in a video. So it's really hard to interpret of like what's working or not. So that's like a later step when you're like really trying to scale up, when you're already getting purchases. So like the image and then the headline is what's actually going to continue getting people's attention. Someone might read the headline first before seeing the image, but the headline is what's going to like try to convince the people, and the body, like the actual text section, is what's going to get people to click into the ad. So like the image stops them, and then the headline in combination with the body is what filters the audience a bit and also gets them to click. And then like on your website is where the rest of the magic is supposed to happen, but that's like way later. So you want to like have people stop and engage with your ad, and that's where you have to test as many things as possible. Like if you can do 10, like that's great. That's already more than when I was starting, and when usually when people say they're like testing like 3 ads or 6 ads. Like, but if you could do like 30 different images, and what I mean by that is have the same headline. So something like hang any gear anywhere you want. Like that's your headline, and then the body is check out this really cool gear that's available this week, or don't say this week, but available this month. Excellent reviews, get it today. Like that's where there's a longer section. So that's all the same, and then everything else is the same. Like you have the same audience, like a 2 million audience size of someone that likes sports and outdoors and REI or something like that. And then the placement is just like one area. It's like mobile newsfeed or desktop newsfeed, just like one. So that way it's not automatic placement. That way it's everywhere, and you can't really interpret if you're comparing like desktop versus mobile. But you want to narrow it down so everything is the same everywhere, and format. So it's like an image ad. It's not like a lead form or a messenger to like going to a chatbot, but it's like one type of format. So all of those things are the same, but the images are different. So let's say you have 30 different ad sets. Well, first you make one ad set with like that template, and then you duplicated the image or at the ad set level, like 30 different duplicates. So each image, or each ad set is going to have one ad. And then at the level, you change the image in each of the 30. So we have like 30 different images. So that's you're going to have a relatively controlled experiment. And there's going to be like audience overlap and like all of these things, but like you don't care about that. Later on, you're really going to care about it. But right now, you just want to find the image that's working better than the rest. So that's like your image test, where everything's the same, but the image is different. And then you replicate the same thing for a headline test. Like which headline is working? Everything else is the same. It's like one image across a whole bunch of ad sets, but the headline, you're changing it. Again, you're like limited to space, so the headline is going to be very short. Tagline, and have short quotes, things like that. And then you do the same thing for the body. You do like short versions, really long versions. You do some things that may be similar to like different headlines. You try to get a different psychology and personality of the people. All right, we're already like more than 10 minutes in, so I'm gonna have to like speed this up. But I think I'm gonna go into more detail at like each level, and then not come back and do it again, but just kind of go that way. And just like a quick summary, things that work for us is like there has to be some sort of curiosity. Because if you tell someone exactly like, here's the carabiner, buy it, it's really cool, people see the ad, they're going to know right away they need it or they don't. And most of the time, people are not going to need anything, so they're not going to click it. So add some curiosity to the image, the headline, the body, where like they can kind of tell what it is, or you're kind of describing the features, or you're like foreshadowing why your product or service is really cool. So those are the ads that are working the best for us. So basically, driving up the click-through rates and bringing down the cost. So this is what you want to spend a lot of time on optimizing this, doing this type of testing. And then there's this component, I'm still like at the number 2A in the document. Then you want to combine the winners. Like you take some of your best images and you combine them in different ways with your different top headlines and your different like body, copy, text sections. And that's where we've seen like just basically magic happen, where ranging from like 0.5% to 1.5% click-through rates across the different image testing, headline, body. When we combine them, this like on average we have ad sets that are around 7% and many that are above 10%. But when you're combining the different winners, it's like it's just the best combination of that you're reaching different psychologies, and someone sees a cool image and then it's like they read the headline, that's also a really good one. So there's not like a part that like someone reads and like, oh, like that's not me, and then they leave. So like testing all of those. And that's what I focus on most of my presentations before. So in the next section is where when you're finding the ones that are getting much higher click-through rates than you've ever had before, this is where then you want to test different audiences, placements, different formats, where can you get even better data after that. And now you're starting to think about, well, like I didn't get any purchases really from that image, headline, body testing, but I have a better ad now. So also on the document, you see on the right side, I have from the top to bottom going like clicks, view product, add to cart, and then purchase. This is the order of, first of all, how expensive ads are. If you change the objective to a purchase, it's going to be more expensive compared a conversion objective compared to if you're doing like a clicks objective. Like you're just telling Facebook where charge me more so you find better people. So that's why earlier on you want to do things like I like view product because it's getting people to the website and then they take an additional step on your website, or view content. So it's like the order of when you want to be doing the like the different objectives relative to like which step you are of the like A, B, C, D. So when you're changing different audiences, placements, formats of the ad, that's where you're basically like improving your ad. You're either finding better placements, or maybe like a page post through like page post engagements will get better engagement than like a image type of ad. So like the format of the ad, we're just doing like the image, like the image ad ones. That's working usually the best for us. Then when you're filtering between different audiences, you're finding some are working better, certain placements are working better. This is where like the placement, it just could be automatic, where you're letting Facebook choose what's better, or even separating them out across the different placements to see which one you're getting. You're getting, for example, like more view product objective is happening. Then when you're getting into like the step C, this is where objectives and website is important. And what I mean by website is that the previous steps, your website almost doesn't matter. Like what happens on your website has nothing to do with you finding the image that's going to bring down your cost and Facebook of getting more people to your website at a lower cost and like more relevant people to your cost. A lot of times people are like worried about their website when they're just like starting out, like you should worry about your website, but then they're running Facebook ads and at a completely different step, their website isn't performing and like the strategy is not working. But you want to worry about your website at the objective level at like step C when you're actually going to choose add to cart or purchase as your conversion objective. Because this is where Facebook did its job on the ad side. You got people into your website. Now your website has to convince the person to subscribe or purchase. Steven, does it matter which you duplicate and test first, images or headline text? That was probably before I said in the order of like, I think images is number one. I actually tested copy because you have more space, and then things from copy or body testing gave me ideas of what to put in the headlines, because like in headlines I don't want to be limited by a certain amount of characters, so I test images and then body. So step C, the objective, that's what you want to try, like the view product, add to cart, purchase, just to see like getting more data into Facebook. Because if you're choosing purchase but you're not really getting purchases yet, like Facebook doesn't know what to optimize. It's like, all right, like we're trying to get purchases, but this website is not sending us any purchase data, so you're going to be like tricking out Facebook. So that's why I like the view product, because you're already filtering your audience. Someone lands to your homepage or landing page, and then they go to the next step of they get more information about the product or service. So Facebook is then optimizing where it's going to find those audiences, like those micro audiences within your big audience that you target of, who actually view the product, to show it more to them. And this is where you're seasoning the pixel. Like your pixel is getting more data, so it knows who didn't convert or who did convert. So like each future ad you create is going to be better than the previous one because Facebook has more data. Quick comment on B is that I have like interest on the left side, behavior on the right side. Also, when you're targeting and you're choosing behaviors, those are more expensive than interests. Or like demographics and behaviors are more expensive. So you're kind of telling people, give me a more qualified visitor behavior. So things like interest, you want to be targeting earlier on, where you want to just have it be like cheapest just to find the winning images. And then later on, when you're doing audience testing, you can like try different behaviors and different interests, different sizes and combinations and overlapping audiences. All right, objectives, website. And then the final part is D, and this is what I've been doing more recently, and this is where bidding is important, delivery, and automation. Bidding, like before everything, this is all automated bidding, and like that's what I was doing for most of the time. So like when I figured out how to break even on ads, where the cost of the ad was covered by the purchases like directly from the ad, not even accounting for extra Amazon sales because people were searching more and extra emails gathered, like that was all on automatic bidding. And then when I found out about manual bidding, so maybe you hear about that manual bidding, and then like I used to just tune out. I'm like, oh, manual bidding, all right. Like I'm not even gonna try to find out. But now I did, and that's basically how you scale up. So I know like in the poll there weren't that many people that are having higher ad budgets, but just like keep that in mind, where at some point when like you feel like you're finding ones that are working, start reading about manual bidding. Like this is what's going to make a big difference. And I'll try to give some tips, like maybe right now, if anything comes to mind, I didn't write anything down, but I'll post in the group, like things you could try right away using manual bidding at some of these early stages that should make a big difference. So for the step D, one thing is I keep talking about like this framework or the order of how you do things. If you've been following before, where you're like testing images, headlines, body, like audience placement, you're like doing a lot of testing, a lot of replicating, seeing what's working, turning off things that are not working. The good thing is that if you're like following that along, you apply the same principles at these scaling strategies of delivery and bidding. And what that delivery, when Facebook is showing the ad to different people, like at different times of the day, like different days of the week, just different people that are logging in like on Facebook, and how like different advertisers are competing for the same person. There's like delivery, when your ad is going to be shown, when your ad is shown like in the news feed relative to like other ads that are showing up. Someone is scrolling, like somebody logs into Facebook or just like pulled out their phone, and then like they're on there, like there's going to be the first ad. So that's based on the bid that someone is putting into Facebook. And then someone puts the phone down, and probably 10 minutes later pick up the phone again to check, there's going to be that first ad. So this is where like that delivery is important and manual bidding comes in. You're like, you want to be like the first one to reach for the audience that's best for you. And that means Facebook knows that data because it's a person that's like most likely to purchase. And Facebook knows that because there's so many Facebook pixels on so many different websites. Facebook has like millions of data points for each person, like each Facebook profile, that this person has visited these different Facebook pixels on different websites, made a purchase here in this category, made a purchase here, did nothing on this website. So each person has like metrics of who's like the right customer that then matches up to who you're targeting or your potential like lookalike audiences if they fit into that. So the higher you bid, the more Facebook is going to pick that person for you, and you're going to be like the first in the newsfeed for them to see your ad. So this is like deep like data science and like machine learning and like all of these like different ideas in there of about like how the bidding is important. But there's different ways of scaling, and one idea is like you like want to continually increase your budget, or there's like ideas out there where like increase it by like 10% or like up to 20% on like daily increasing your budget. Like you find an ad that's working, or at least you're like getting purchases, or you're like breaking even and ad budget. And a lot of times like it stops working for people because you're kind of like messing up the formula. So Facebook has to like refine that audience again, and already historic data, so it's going to do better than like from scratch. But still you're kind of like restarting that data. But some of the other strategies is not necessarily like adding budget. The framework from before where you're like duplicating and you're testing, you can apply that to your bidding as well. So things you can try, well, first let me do like a super brief overview of manual bidding. That's where you tell Facebook, I want to spend $50 at the most to acquire a person. And let's say you have like a $20 product or a $100 product. And let's say for whatever reason, like you just want to say $50, like you're okay with spending $50 to acquire a person. So you're like telling Facebook that. If you choose automatic, it already chooses for you like what that number is based on who you targeted. Sorry. So if you choose a different audience, that automatic bid is going to, behind the scenes, is going to change from like $20 to like $30, or it's going to be a different amount. And Facebook like always changes that like automatic bid. But if you're telling it like $50, that's what I'm willing to spend, you may have already leapfrogged over a whole bunch of advertisers that are using automatic that's under your bid. So you're already going after those higher quality ones. So that's like the basis of the manual bidding. But at the same time, you can change your daily budget in a way where you might put it really high and like just think crazy for a second. Like let's say you put $1,000 daily budget on just one ad set, and you might have like dozens of ad sets. You're not necessarily going to spend that ad budget for the day, because if you're, let's say you put, I want my manual maximum bid to be like $10. It's going to be rare Facebook is going to like find those people. Like it will, but there's so many people competing for that. So you may not even like reach your $1,000 budget, but Facebook is going to try to do a really good job of taking in all of that data and finding like that exact person for that bid that you're telling it that you want. So your return on ad spend might be high, you just may not have as high of a reach. But unless you're telling Facebook like I want to spend more. So what if you put like $20,000 on daily ad spend? Facebook is planning to spend all of that, so then it may be more aggressive finding that like $10 bid person. again, like be very careful. Like don't try any of this yet if you're not there yet, because you might lose thousands of dollars in like a few minutes. So you have to know what you're doing before you get that far. But I'm just explaining some of the concepts of manual bidding, and that's where I keep saying, but I didn't explain it yet, is that you like similar strategies you want to like be duplicating and testing by turning off things that are not working. You could try that with deliveries and budgets and bids as well. So you could have like this, everything is the same in your ad set and ad, but add duplicates of your ad set, and for each one have like different levels of manual bid. So you're actually like telling Facebook, and this one look for the $10 person, and this one look for the $20 person. And there's going to be some competition between your ads, but you're not going to care when you're like finding the best one that's like the $18 person because it's above the $10 person that you would have never reached. And there's like all of these tools that are out there that can like start doing some of this automation for you. Because theoretically, you're like, well, all right, I'm going to go make a $1 bid, $2 bid, up to like $300 bid if you're considering like your lifetime customer value. So that's kind of getting a little bit more advanced, where you could like start replicating like these different ad sets and turn off things really quick that's not working. Because if you went through, let's say, steps from before, like A, B, and C, and you know you're getting some ads that are getting sales, like it may not have a positive ROAS, return on ad spend. Some of it might be positive, but it's like fluctuating a lot. Well, why not create a bunch of duplicates of that, maybe make small variations of that, and like run them all, and then just like turn off the ones that aren't working. So it's similar strategies before, where you're testing and you're optimizing, but you're being aggressive and turning things off. So like, you know, test that for a few days as you're kind of bringing even more relevant data to Facebook. And there's different ways of, again, where there's different rules, different tools and rules you can set up. Like now in Facebook, you can set up rules to turn off things for you, depending if like you spend over your cost of acquisition that you wanted to spend, and like Facebook can automatically turn off that ad for you. And this is an iterative process where like through this step, you might go back to like step 1 or step A and then like do image testing again, because you found ones that are working and you're getting pretty good data, but you're like, well, what if I take that image and then I like do slightly different angles, or I change the wording a bit in the headline. I like, let's say before I found out that our best headline is hang anything anywhere. Like that just worked better than other things like free your hands or something like that. So let's say like that one, it's very different from the other ones. But now I take this one and I change one word. It's like hang anything anywhere is what worked, but now I'm going to say hang anything anywhere anytime, or just like making a little variation. So now I'm playing around with the click-through rates that are like the really good ones, like, you know, the 5, 7, 8%, but now that one word could bring that up significantly. So it's an iterative process. Same thing with the audiences. You're finding ones that are potentially working better, and then you're like, well, I'm getting this data where, you know, the REI audience is doing much better than the Big 5 sporting goods audience or something like that, or lookalikes based off Amazon purchases compared to lookalikes based off top 5% of time spent on your website, which you can do from Facebook. So that's going to be an iterative process. And then once you find the ones that are working, where you're just going to be broadening out that audience. So from like the 1 to 5 million, right now we have probably like half of our ad sets have audiences of like 10 million or more, some like 20, 50 million, because we've optimized it where Facebook has had, it's been, the pixel is seasoned, it's had data of purchases. So it's like, here's our audience we started off with, like here's our 5 million people. And then we're like, well, let's do a lookalike of that, but make it a 10% lookalike. So we just like made this pool much bigger, but Facebook has so much data where it already knows to look for these people, but we're giving opportunity for it to like test this person and this person and this person because they're similar to these other ones. So we have a bigger pool rather than it's like 5 million. It can only like play within that audience size. So then you'd have to like do like even more testing than I think you need to. So I actually like playing around with bigger, broad audiences, which a lot of people say the opposite of that, but make sure you like follow their strategies, whatever they're saying, like for being like very hyper targeted. one other thing, and this is where I learned this recently, and it's starting to work really well. But before, basically duplicating ads at the ad level. And this is probably going to be like a last tip, and that's pretty much like most what I have. But this is actually like something that you could do like right away. I mean, like do like your image and testing from that order, but this is something you can like start implementing right away. And before, when I was presenting, oh, I see someone has an unhappy face, but I think that's because I asked for an unhappy face. Please change that to a happy face later. Or give me in the comments why, Alan, you're sad. So when I did the presentation before a couple months ago, I was saying like I always do one ad in one ad set. And if you do different multiple ads at the ad set level, there's two ways you can do that. One, you have different creative in your ad. So like your image is different, your headline is different. So those are like duplicates, but in the ad set is the same, where like your objective, your audience is the same. Like that's the one where I don't like as much, because then Facebook like chooses its own weird way, and it may not give enough impressions to some of the ads that you're actually trying to see what's working or not. So that's why I was always saying, oh, just do one ad per ad set. But then fairly recently I found out where there's some big advantages of doing multiple ads in an ad set, but having the exact same creative. So you literally you have your one ad set and your one ad, and you duplicate at the ad level. So you have one ad set and then two ads, or you could go up to like 4, like 5 or 6, but it's the exact same thing. And like you could have like the same post ID, so it's like the social proof is building on there. But what's that doing is that, so you have one ad set and multiple ads, Facebook is going to take these different ads and show them to different segments of the same overall audience. So like this ad might get like sales, like, but these three are not, or like these three might, this one is not. So basically you're going to get that data faster because you're like segmenting in a broader section of your full audience of like which ad is working. You're going to basically get to it quicker than having one ad, because it's like you have one ad, you're like here's your audience, you're kind of like digging around here and it's going to like branch out here. But with multiple ads, you're already like starting off at different points. So it's just going to give you the leverage to say like these ads are not working, this one got a purchase, I'm just going to turn those off because this one is already getting better data faster. So kind of like applying that idea as well when you're basically through like all of these steps where you're going to have to keep track of more ads, but like it's been working for us where like you see ads, like the other ones are not profitable because they're like the bad ones, they're just like not getting the right audience, and then these ones are good, so we turn off the rest, and that one is doing better like the rest of the day than if we would have just like started off with one ad, and it may have been that bad one from the beginning. So this may be why if like you're getting big fluctuations day to day, like I think this could help with that. That's all I have. Well, for a 20-minute presentation that went over 30 minutes. All right, let me know what you guys think. Like, was it like beginner, medium, advanced? And if there's anything you think you'll try right away. Again, it'll be good to like plan out your strategy, but like some things you could like test right away and see if it's going to make an improvement. Thanks. Thanks, Lawi. Question, do you guys know how to get a Facebook pixel on Amazon or any workarounds? Or is it a clear no that it's not possible to do? Just wondering how much anyone has tried or done research or tried different workarounds. Hi, Brigida, thanks. Yep, gotta experiment. One is you're gonna learn from it, but two, you're gonna send, well, more money to Facebook, but more data. So like the next time you do it, when your website is more ready, or you kind of have better content, things like that, like it's already gonna perform slightly better than before. Again, over like course of like hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, but it's like a continual process. All right, 40-minute mark or so. I think I came on early, played around with the settings a bit, but hope that was helpful. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna maybe like once a week try to post something in this group, like something that I learned or a new braingasm, dare I say, like Ryan and Jesse. So I'll post that in here. Hopefully it's helpful, but feel free to post in the group too. Either questions, maybe other. I know there's some experts in the group as well. And Happy New Year. Have a good rest of the weekend. Or week. It's weekend for me. I'm in California on the beach. All right, thanks guys. Bye.